The Shape of Water, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, and Vanessa Taylor is in a genre all on its own, as one would suspect from del Toro due to his past track record. This is my first time seeing one of his films, and I liked it, but there were some parts I would have cut from the film itself. I want to focus on the positives first. Del Toro's writing and direction within The Shape of Water is excellent, as the film grabs you from the very beginning and almost doesn't let go. While The Shape of Water begins in the main character's apartment underwater, we still recognize the period the film is set. Throughout the film, there are great detailed shots of watches, clocks, films, and even art that give the audience physical reminders of when these characters live. Del Toro lulls the audience into a sense of familiarity by presenting them with the hallmarks of the 1960s Americana, key lime pie and Rockwellian art, and then he hits the audience with the real 1960s, where the government is worried about the threat of communism, and unfortunately racism is rampant. By establishing the reality or the truth of the setting, Del Toro knows the audience is comfortable enough where he can introduce the wrench that is the amphibian man, and the relationship that develops between him and Eliza, and the audience will still accept this as a tangible relationship that could have happened. This, of course, could not be done without Doug Jones and Sally Hawkins' performances. Sally Hawkins is lovely in the role of Eliza Esposito, a mute woman that is endlessly compassionate for her fellow man. Eliza's vulnerability and open heart is played wonderfully by Hawkins, as she's able to convey the emotional connection her character has, while at the same time being true to her character, who cannot verbally express her emotions. Eliza sees the amphibian man as a reflection of her whole world, a world that can't and oftentimes doesn't want to understand how she's feeling or how lonely she is. But when she looks back at that mirror, she sees herself in him. Doug Jones is my generation's Lon Chaney, in that he can take a monster and transform it into something that can convey human emotions, like loneliness, love, and compassion for others. While we don't see him physically through the makeup and the costumes, we can see his spirit. The way he was able to convey these emotions is fantastic, and I feel that he will be remembered as a legend of his craft. While I thought these things were good about the film, as I said before, I do have some issues with it. Overall, there were things I would have cut from the picture. I'm not going to say any scene in particular because I don't want to give plot points away. Although I understand why they were put in, I think it made the picture a tiny bit convoluted and made it feel longer than it should have been. There were a lot of moments in the film where I said to myself, why did this need to be put in? These scenes usually try to over-explain why the characters do what they do, even though you were already introduced as to why they make the choices they make. The characters I felt this the most with were Michael Shannon's Strickland, Richard Jenkins's Giles, and Michael Stuhlbarg's Dr. Hofstetler. Even with those flaws, The Shape of Water is still a good film. Del Toro is able to bring the audience into a world within our own world, where a swamp thing-like creature and a mute woman can fall in love and still impact the audience to be inspired to feel compassion for one another. Thanks for watching.